you check the children. You're a little mad sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes. That is what
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil, Laird.
Wolfman.
And Jaime and Fuego here.
And we are here to discuss the early screening we got to see tonight. You guys are seeing this review first thing tomorrow morning, but we got to see Heart Eyes about a week early. And that's what we're here to talk about, a brand new slasher in the horror genre. Oh, wow.
What the hell was that?
It made hearts appear on screen when you did that.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Did I do it too? No, they're like, no, your heart isn't worth anything.
Yeah,
right. Not at all, I'm sure.
I just stepped on my glasses. That's not good.
Damn it, man.
All right.
You and glasses.
I know, I can't. I just don't know how to treat them. So yeah, we're gonna talk about this movie like we do our normal reviews. We're gonna keep it spoiler free, but we'll talk about the story, our overall thoughts, the story, the acting, the effects, the way the film was made, all of that good stuff in turn. And so I'm curious, Fuego, what your thoughts are on it. So why don't you go ahead and start?
Yeah, this was fun. I mean, the last couple of films I've seen that are coming around right around Halloween, and they're kind of romantic horror adjacent of sorts. We reviewed Companion a couple days ago. This is fitting right into that sort of vein for if you want something a little on the genre side, a little bit of blood and guts and whatever, but also just a little bit of sweetness to it. So it was admittedly more on the romantic side of things than I was necessarily expecting, and that's not necessarily a bad thing either. It was endearing, and I liked the chemistry between our two leads. I thought they were fun. They had just genuine energy and stuff, but really like the thing that made this movie especially memorable, because aside from one interesting kill, maybe another one in the third act that mirrored a certain maybe I should say it. Anyway, yeah. But aside from one kill, it was really the dialogue in this film that made it, stand out. It was very funny. It was very quick with the quips. I mean, lots of amusing bits, and there was a couple people in the theater that thought it was absolutely hilarious at times, and I felt like I was in Scary Movie or something.
Straight up.
Yeah, but this was enjoyable. I could have done with a little more carnage candy, maybe a little more creativity with the kills, but it really lived and died in this particular case just by our two leads having believable sort of energy and chemistry, and also just the humor. I guess Kristopher Landon, who did the Happy Death Day movies and Freaky, he was a producer and co-wrote the script, and I could kind of feel his stamp on this one. So yeah, it was fun. I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll go next and say that I had a much better time in it than I didn't know what to expect out of it. The trailer looked fun, and so I was optimistic, but you never know, right? With horror nowadays. And I was surprised at how much I laughed in the movie, and it was quite a bit. And there was a lot of almost airplane level comedy, where if you're listening for it, like the sound did a lot of comedic heavy lifting, but at one point there's a character talking to a cop about another character who's not far away, and they're talking, and you just hear in the background, "What?" It's stuff like that was getting me so good.
Yeah.
It was so. Yeah, honestly, this movie plays better as a comedy than it does a horror movie to me. But I think it was still successful enough as a Scream light kind of situation. It doesn't do anything we haven't already seen in Scream and any other number of non-mystical slasher franchises, down to unfortunately a lot of the DNA, without saying more than that. But I will say that I was surprised at how much fun I had with this. How about you, Robert?
No, same. I again, when we did the trailer reaction, we were generally excited. I don't know if Fuego, if you had done one of the trailer reactions for it initially.
I don't think so.
No, okay. But no, I was always excited for this, and again, going into it earlier today, I was looking into it, and it's it's billed as a romantic horror comedy. And it does live up to that. It's got some, and I say this in the best way because it was written in that way of very romantically cringy at times, but it played so well with the horror comedy schlockiness of what they were pulling off. And again, like what you were saying, Fuego, of like the sentiments to like Happy Death Day and Freaky, like they were definitely in this. You can see that was those meldings of the genres basically that playing. But again, like there were times where the formula was pretty generic, and I kind of mentioned that to Cecil in the beginning. I'm like, I feel like there was going to be a couple of those generic things, but it was fun enough to where you could look past it, and I found myself laughing a lot. Those small little background quips. There was one couple in particular in the van, like those little sayings that were happening in the background were fucking hilarious, and it just added so well into the conversation of what our two mains were having. It just it kept you engrossed, but also kind of like just made you go, what the fuck,
well, it's
man?
Sorry,
no, go ahead.
I know I'll get ripped apart in the comments
right?
for it. But it's funny because it's so self-aware.
Oh, exactly.
They're like, it's
very
intended to
much
be
so.
a serious relationship building moment that they completely
especially
undercut
in how they
especially in such a funny way.
Yeah, sorry. And again, we're talking over each other. Sorry, guys.
It's okay, guys. We're okay with it.
Yeah. If we have a problem, we'll tell each other, shut up.
Yeah, or trust us. We'll finish our thought if someone interrupts.
Exactly.
Okay.
But like the opening part of the film, like it opened so goofy, and then it just went right for it. And I like those type of openings. And again, this movie was so self-aware, it knew exactly what the hell it was doing. And like I was saying to Cecil, like this is definitely one of those movies where I can see myself going back and rewatching this. I'm very picky on my slashers. This was a fun slasher movie.
It's as rewatchable as like Happy Death Day and stuff
It
like
is.
that.
It is. It's generic in the formula, but it was still new and refreshing enough.
Yeah.
Like,
it's one of those that's done so well that it doesn't matter that it has so much similar DNA.
And like
you know?
we do have like our our Valentine's movies, our holiday slashers and stuff, but we don't have a whole lot of Valentines. Like we have My Bloody Valentine.
Yep.
Like there's a couple other ones that are eluding me.
There's a couple just called Valentine's Day and stuff
yeah,
that,
and like there's like some like you have your fan films like Valentine's Bluff and stuff like that. But like again, like this is that romantic comedy slasher done right. So
and I
kudos.
think the tropes maybe were intentional because of the self-awareness, because they were just putting that stuff on its head, and it does in the vein of Christopher Landon stuff, like we were saying, it does play more as a comedy set in like a horror universe almost than actually, because Scream is still a horror movie with comedic elements as opposed to the other end of the spectrum, which is what this feels more like to me. But that's not a bad thing. And, and all the subplots, I mean, the boss of this, of our lead character, just that whole angle had me just dying.
Yeah, she was a really great actress too,
Yeah, I was trying to pinpoint what I have seen her in because the snark of her southern drawl delivery was just...
I recognized her. She might have been Kit from A League of Their Own. But I know I've seen her before as well. Just she had that very similar face. But I don't know, maybe not her, but a very similar face. Just older. But yeah, so getting into the story just real quick, since we all seem to have enjoyed it, which is great. The story is simply about a country that is aware of the fact that there is a heart-eyes killer, they call it HEK, that strikes every Halloween, hasn't been able to be caught, but it has been striking all over the country. And so now we're in the new place where the heart-eyes killer is striking, and...
Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle. And meanwhile, there's our main character is working at a marketing agency, and she has a meet cute with a guy that happens to also be starting to work at the same marketing agency. Again, without spoiling too much, but
it's a little hallmarky.
Yeah, it is. It is, but it's funny.
Super
it's purposefully doing
exactly.
that. Turning moments on their heads and stuff. So yeah, that's basically what happens when these two people are mistaken as a couple and become the unwitting victims of, or would-be victims
Yep.
of the Hard-Eyes
The
Killer.
target.
Again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but yeah. So that's the long and short of the story. And as simple as it is, it really worked. Like, I was wondering, like, okay, are we going to go somewhere, and then it's just going to be a group of people that are one by one picked off? But no, it never really settled on a particular place, which I liked.
Yep.
The movie kept moving, and I found that interesting. So yeah, as far as how the story played out, you know, towards the end, yeah, it got a little derivative, but without getting further than that, I enjoyed, you know, myself throughout, and I enjoyed the way the story played out.
No, same. I did, again. It was semi generic but new, for semi fresh and new for what it was. I did find myself at a couple scenes kind of just getting impatient. Just I guess on like some of the pacing, I just kind of was like, okay, let's kind of go. Let's get on with it. But other than that, like I liked how the story progressed. Again, like that the final part in the third act was just like, if you paid attention to a couple scenes prior, you're like, I'm kind of worried on where this might go, and without spoil, I'm trying to tiptoe around it. But again, even though how it progressed, it was kind of somewhat you could figure it out. It was still fun enough for how it ended, and again, like the kills of the final act was fun. Like they were definitely fun to watch.
Yeah,
that's my piece.
Yeah, and I mean, it really, as far as the writing goes, much more memorable as, you know, dialogue and interplay amongst characters than what does admittedly feel like a little bit of a generic story, including, you know, thinking like, is this person responsible for one thing or not, without getting into any sort of spoilery things and whatnot. Although there was some, with the reveals that do happen in the third act, there was some interesting foreshadowing I didn't pick up on immediately early in the film that kind of gives you a little bit of a hint, a little bit of a, you know, scent of sorts and stuff. But yeah, I mean, you also had to have capable performances from all of these different casts. I mean, I had no idea Devon Sawa was in this, Jordana Brewster.
Yeah,
like their dynamic was very funny to me, especially Devon Sawa playing it so straight and so serious.
Yeah, he was definitely playing that like over the top, like 80s hardball, you know, hard ass cop.
He was the bad cop.
He was
cop bad.
Oh
cop,
yeah,
you know?
he was a cop on a bender.
Yeah, it's like Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, I never seen it. Just that. What? I don't get this.
Yeah, no, I had a good time with the acting as well. I feel like they had some really good comedic actors that, or even, you know, actors that aren't necessarily known for their comedy stepping up and being funny. So I really appreciated that, and I feel like they had a great script to go off of, and they all did a great job, you know, pulling off what they were trying to pull off. Again, some of the moments, it's, you know, some people might mistake it for trying to be serious, but, you know, that they knew what they were doing in those moments. And stuff,
It's that Hallmark seriousness, and that's why it was like, it was the so over the top, and just that Hallmark romantic comedy kind of thing. It's just like, oh, it's a little cringy, but it's really funny at the same time.
And that's what makes it funny, because that earnesty, you know?
Yeah, you're like, you get that, like, that secondhand embarrassment kind of thing at times, and just, like, again, going back to how cringy some of it is, but it's that romantic movie cringe that they give you with the murders mixed in, and it's such a fun blend. I had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah, and I mean, also, dude from the last couple Scream movies, who was apparently returning for 7, one of the twins, but the brother, he didn't really have much comedic stuff to do in the previous things I'd seen him in Scream, so the fact that his timing was really good, and his interplay, I mean, it was solid.
Yeah, they had a nice little chemistry and everything between them, those little uncoupley arguments kind of, and like banter back and forth. It was fun.
Yeah.
I liked the filmmaking was well enough done as well. It didn't like blow my hair back or anything like that, but it was well enough done where I wasn't like annoyed at any of the shots or anything like that. It was pretty straightforward, but done well enough. I feel like the sound design was doing a lot of the heavy lifting for me, because there was a lot of jokes that were making me giggle, you know, that were not pronounced in the scene and stuff like that.
Background jokes.
Yeah, and so I appreciated it for that. All of the stabby, squelchy kind of stuff was well done too. So yeah, sound design was great. The production design, I feel like, was done well. All the locations, you know, felt real and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was just a well-made movie.
Well, the nice thing too is like it's set in Seattle, right?
Yeah.
So you have this basically your city layout already there to work with. So it's a nice thing. You already have that clean atmosphere, and then you just insert your killer. But no, like even Cecil was saying, it's like, yeah, like the cinematography was nice. It was crisp. It showed you what it needed to on the moments it needed to. But it didn't. Again, it didn't do anything new or crazy. It served its purpose. It did what it did. It delivered well, and it showed us what we needed to see. But again, the sound design was the heavy lifter. Between the gore sounds, but also again the background characters in the audience. That's, I think, what really added that little extra level into those scenes.
Yeah, and as far as soundtrack goes, I mean, you had some old-timey, lovey-dovey sort of stuff from, you know, like the 50s and, you know, early 60s and whatnot, but also some, I mean, there's a montage where they're trying on outfits to this, like, goofy, synthy, like, chick rap sort of stuff, which was fun, too. So, yeah, I mean, I thought the song selection was also pretty tight, too.
Lastly, I think we need to talk about the effects. Again, without spoiling it, they show you right up front that, like, we're in for a fun gore fest.
Yeah.
You know, one of the very early kills was something that I really love seeing in movies when they commit to it.
Yeah.
A lot of movies cut away from it, but this one was one that does not, and I always appreciate that. And then there was a gore gag that didn't necessarily make the most sense later on, but it was still a really cool gag that, like, took a little bit to complete and stuff, and it was neat to see that. So I feel like the effects were all done really well. I don't think there was a ton of CG to speak of, you know. I feel like it was practical gore, practical blood sprays.
Well, they had like in the first initial opening and everything like that. There was a little bit, but again, it was pretty much
enhancements of practical.
I think that's predominantly where it was. And again, they did show a pretty good amount of the gore. Again, like there were some times I wish it might have been a little bit bloodier. But again, like, it's not like I'm not expecting anime levels of gore. Yeah. You know,
levels.
Yeah, you know, it's just not like
it's not the sadness or something.
Yeah, 40 gallons of fucking blood in your body, you know. Like, but I don't know. I guess it was effective. There was just a couple scenes I think I wish I would have liked to have seen just a little bit more.
Yeah, it is bookended by two pretty gnarly kills. I gotta say.
Oh, it absolutely is. And what's funny is, like, in that final scene, like, they do a little like back shot as one of the character turns around, and I'm just like, I think that's gonna come into play. And then sure enough, it did. Right, that final moment.
So, it is always satisfying when there's that foreshadowing.
Yeah,
there's something similar in Companion too, where you're like, oh, they got to kill somebody with this thing. You know?
But that's the thing though. It's like, and they did that a couple times throughout the. I'm looking down here. They'd be looking up here to you. They did that actually a couple times throughout the movie. Like,
there was definitely a Chekhov's gun that that appeared early on that I was like, oh, that's gonna be used later.
Yeah, exactly. But like, that's the thing is, like, the foreshadowing scenes, like, they weren't like overly heavy-handed. They were kind of nicely placed, like, in the background kind of thing. So if you were looking at everything along in that scene, not just the characters, you'll be able to pick up on those couple little things. But no, those are nice little details I always appreciate about the scenes and the stories, as long as they go somewhere. That's
your
thing.
Thoughts on the effects?
Yeah, I mean, the kills were solid. When we actually got them, they were a little infrequent, but as I said a moment ago, it was bookended by two pretty gnarly ones, and so everything in the middle being a little more restrained, maybe a little less creative than those two bits. You know, I will forgive those minor little gripes because of the fact that, you know, once again, the energy, the interplay, and the comedy, and the fact that you mentioned Airplane. I mean, this is a movie where there was so much, you know, being spoken, or like even when I rewatched Deadpool and Wolverine, there were like the quips were coming so quickly at times that I know that there was some stuff that went over my head because I was laughing about one thing and something else is said while I'm still laughing, and so I couldn't even, you know, just properly gauge it. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they really tried to hone the script where there was a joke like every 2 to 3 pages at least, if not more so. You know, so that's always nice when they put in that kind of effort into the writing. So
yeah, I could kill you. Would I kill you?
Yeah,
I would kill you.
Maybe.
Would I kill you?
I could, but would I?
that part definitely
blacklist
tickled
you.
tickled the viewer behind us all for sure.
Oh my god.
There were multiple moments.
I know.
She was her own. She was putting on her own show. Honestly.
Yeah, straight up.
Repeating the jokes after we hear them in the movie, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
It was the clapping too that got me.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
I mean, some of those gory moments, the 2 bookend kills, I said, I had people, not just her, a lot of people.
oh yeah, no, people were digging on them. Like a lot, like that's the nice thing. Like the theater, like people were enjoying the shit out of this movie.
Crowd was into it.
Yeah, the crowd was digging it, and it definitely helps the overall enjoyment for everyone else.
Yeah,
because the whole theater, we're all laughing.
Everyone acknowledged what it was.
Exactly.
Like, I don't think anyone expected it to be anything more than what it was. Or once it set its own tone, everyone knew that it was just going to be kind of a fun ride.
Yeah,
and everyone just kind of enjoyed it. So,
It like again that opening scene. It shows you that tone of what this fucking movie is gonna be, and you're like, I'm sold.
Goofy and gory with a little bit of sweetness to it.
Yeah,
you know? So,
absolutely. And again, like I said, like this is definitely one of those slashers where, like, I'll go back and rewatch. Like this is one of those fun ones, and I'll probably pick up on some of those extra little jokes that we missed the last time too.
This is a good one to take your friends to go see. Like, go with your friends. You'll have fun either way, but especially if you go with a group of friends, you can have an especially good time. So, I think that's a good enough place to stop here.
Yeah. And Valentine's Day is coming up too, so take the date to Hard Eyes. You know,
yeah, exactly. So,
it's a romantic movie. Come on, guys.
Yeah. If your sweetheart isn't wanting, like, you know, champagne on, you know, Camelback Mountain or something like that, you just want
give her that nice spray of blood.
Yeah, as opposed to feeding into the commercialism of the holiday. Go enjoy this because you'll have some. Yeah, you'll enjoy yourselves.
Indeed. So, thank you guys very much for watching. Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel the way that you do. Thank you to Allied for hooking us up with this screening. Until next time, though, I've been Cecil Laird.
Rob Wolfman.
Gracias. I mean, Fuego.
And remember,
stay
scared.